baby. And we're here to see Metallica for day 2, Pantera, Suicidal Tendencies, but we're mainly here for the Pantera show. That's exactly what we're here for, Pantera, and we're here to see whatever Metallica is going to pull off tonight. Because Friday, it was not bad. I'm surprised Metallica had 4 mosh pits going at one time. We're here to see what Zakk Wylde and the boys are doing Pantera. Pretty excited. Oh, and that breeze feels good. Because it is hot out here in Tampa, Florida. I'll tell you that. It's like a swamp out here. It's like a swamp out here. That is what I call pretty damn epic. It had to be one of the most intense crowds I've ever seen for a show. Will I say it sounds similar to Pantera, the original? Absolutely. A little bit different in the solos just because it's Zakk Wylde, but if you haven't seen the tribute to Dimebag, and highly recommend it. Sounds, like I said, very similar. I would say probably 90% similar to the original that played. Like I said, it was heavy, it was aggressive, and if people ask, well, the energy ain't there. Well, the energy is of 60-year-old dudes jamming. You have Phil Anselmo walking around with back injuries, and that's why he wears no shoes and he doesn't really rock out as hard as he used to because of his back problems. But again, I think the show itself, that should have been the headliner over Metallica any day. Metallica is good, but their show is not that high energy, that aggressive, and getting the crowd that electrified. But again, that show was sick. One of the top, I would say top 5 shows I've seen in a very long time. And I'll say this, a lot of people are leaving because they just came for Pantera and they don't want to see Metallica. Metallica is good, but it's not as high energy as Pantera. Arena shows are very different than music festivals or amphitheater shows, I'll tell you that. But I'll say it and I'll say it again, there's nothing like seeing live music, regardless of the venue. Live music is like the best thing on the planet. And as you can see, the shirts at the merchandise area is just $45 or $55, but they're only Metallica merchandise, which is kind of weird that there's no Pantera or any other band out here.
Refillable cups, and they got lemonade in the thing.
Trying desperately to figure out the lyrics. Find your nearest old motherfucker. They'll probably humming or some shit like that. That's how it's called like poetry.
Pantera show, Limp Bizkit show, and Metallica show. Limp Bizkit was very high energy. The crowd was going crazy. People moshing, people going crazy. Then you had On the other hand, you had Pantera show, very high energy, very aggressive, just in your face. Then you had Metallica for the second night. They were okay. I'm not gonna say they were the best thing. It's like they lack bass. They turn the bass down or something. Because with Pantera, you hear the bass something dun 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 dun. When it comes to Metallica, the bass is very flat, and guitars and drums, which I'm not a fan of that. But again, was Metallica better than I expected? They were what I expected for their age. They were decent. They put on a good show for what they do. But it's not like they're out there thrashing, getting the crowd going crazy, getting the crowd ramped up. I think Friday night there was a few mosh pits that actually broke out during Creeping Death. But this night on Sunday, it was okay. Like I said, they played more like the mellower stuff, like Forever I Remains. They played Whiskey in the Jar, those kinds of tracks. But again, overall, if you're a big Metallica fan, I would recommend seeing them at least once in your life. But will I say Metallica is a band to see? I think if you haven't seen them, and they're a band that you should at least see once. I've seen Megadeth, I've seen Anthrax, I've seen Slayer, so I've seen all the big four. Overall, it's not a bad show, honestly, for what it is. But it just seems like when you had Pantera's amped up fire, crazy show going bananas, and then you get this, you're like, what happened? Like, it's like the energy level, like, from way up here to like this, it flatlined. But a lot of people did leave, I'll tell you this, a lot of people did leave after Pantera, because when I went to go to the bathroom, there was tons of people just walking out, because they were just there for Pantera. But again, overall, I thought all the bands that performed over the weekend put on a hell of a good show. So I'll say the band that impressed me the most was Suicidal Tendencies. Didn't know much about them besides they were an old school thrash band that reminded me a lot of Anthrax. And I'll say the bands that I knew that were always going to be fire was Pantera and the band Limp Bizkit. I already knew they were going to be fire, and that's what they were. Very high energy, got the crowd going. They had like 6 mosh pits in different sides of the stadium going bonkers. And Metallica, love their music. Not a fan of their sound quality. It's very flat, not a lot of low end thump or bump. I also think that Ice Nine Kills does not do good in that big round stage. And I think that stage is okay, but I think for a lot of bands, when you're sitting where you might be sitting in the cheap seats or wherever, it's hard to see every member of the band doing things. And Ice Nine Kills puts on a hell of a like scary performance with their zombies on stage and body parts that they incorporate. But in a smaller venue, they would shine. On this big of a stage, it's very hard to sit there and enjoy what they do. Because when I seen them in a smaller venue, like 3 years ago, it was a hell of a lot better show. They had this, you could see the smoke, and when you're outside in bright sunlight, that smoke and all the stuff they do doesn't work. But every band put on a hell of a show. I think, like I said, I was impressed more by Suicidal Tendencies, even though I don't know their music. Like, their singer was just crazy good, like a good stage man, a good front man. Metallica, they were the band that disappointed me the most with their sound quality. Like, it's just flat. It's very flat. And that's what I hate about that kind of music. It's just very, like, James Hetfield sound and Lars. That's it. And you get Kirk in there, but you don't really hear the madness of the bass that Robert brings to the table. But overall, I'm going to say it was a good show. Overall, I would give it probably like a 9 out of 10 for being one of the better shows I've seen in a very long time. Let me know if you went to the show or you've seen Metallica live on this tour, and did you think it was the best thing you've ever seen? For me, it was not bad. But as always, it's your boy Trevor, back with another video.